Feeling low?
Hello, my name's Sue. I'm one of the nurses from the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust. Can I help?
Getting help doesn't have to mean risking your firearms licence. The Gamekeepers Welfare Trust offers a helpline which is manned by nurses. And the GWT is encouraging people to keep an eye on their friends with its Check-in with a Mate scheme.
We know that things are tough right now. We thought after COVID things would settle down. They didn't. We had avian flu, and that devastated some areas throughout the country and was a big time of anxiety and continues to be to a certain extent. And what happened then? We've got a lot of pressure from the government and from DEFRA with the GL43 right now, and in Wales with the game bird release, and in Scotland with the Mewburn. A lot of pressures for a lot of people.
The GWT helpline is confidential, anonymous and operates outside the NHS, so nurses don't pass on your name to government agencies. Steve Stringer is a gamekeeper and ambassador for the scheme in Wales. His wife Sue is one of the nurses who works with the trust too. The death of a gamekeeper in Devon recently highlighted the need for mental health support.
I don't know much about the poor chap in Devon, only what I've read about it, and it's so sad. You know, he was a head keeper on a big estate down there, and the trouble is with keepers, they're not good at talking to people. You know, we work alone quite often. Obviously we come home, but do we talk to our family about it? Probably not. And it's just so sad, you know, and he's not the only one. I mean, it's been happening over the years. And I just think it's great that the Gamekeepers Welfare Trust are trying to do things. And they're only on the end of a phone. You know, they've got professionals there, you can talk to them, ring them up, it's all anonymous. You know, and a lot of lads are worried about mental health because of their shotgun certificates, firearm certificates, which is a big taboo. So they're keeping it bottled up. But just, you know, we've all got mates, talk to your mates.
Shooter and ferreter Simon Whitehead speaks out about his own mental health struggles in his new book, which shares his journey working with ferrets.
I think it's important that stuff like this is mentioned because, especially in the gamekeeper and the shooting world, they're all worried about the licences and everything else. And that's another reason why people clam it up. And it's, you know, I think the more people that push people to say, you know, you've been a bit quiet lately, are you okay? My mates do that with me. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. No, we know what you like, Whitehead. Are you okay? I say, yeah, I'm chipper. And I think it's important that that message gets out there because, unfortunately, you know, the suicide rate, the depression rate, the anxiety rate, and people are coping how they shouldn't be coping.
Data from the Office for National Statistics in 2018 indicated that more than one agricultural worker committed suicide each week in the UK. This makes it the highest risk occupation for suicide rates. There are more than 450,000 people working in the agricultural sector.
The manly thing to do is to clam up and keep it all in because you want to show a sign of strength. And it's not until recently and later on in life and therapy and moves and everything else do you realise it takes more strength to actually say, you know what, I have got a bit of a problem here and I do need to talk about it. And then a burden is lifted.
According to a survey by the Samaritans, only 43% of men in rural areas said they would talk to someone, compared to 51% of urban men and 60% of rural women. The Samaritans runs a campaign called Real People, Real Stories, supported by the NFU Mutual Charitable Trust, which aims to prevent men in rural communities from reaching crisis point.
The worst case scenario, they take their own life. Some of the keepers, I've met them and you wouldn't know there was a problem, you know, and the next thing you hear, unfortunately, they've took their own life, you know, and you just think, oh, it's such a waste, it's so sad, you know, and it has such an effect on their families.
Student farmer Len Eden from Warwickshire took his own life on New Year's Day in 2022.
We didn't know he was struggling, and none of his friends did. It was a case that he was a person who was there for everybody else. And he went out the night before, unfortunately, he took his life. Seemed in a perfect place. He came home 4 o'clock in the morning, full of beans. Unfortunately, he had a phone call. Could he go out to pick someone up? And that was the last we saw of him.
His family are raising money to help mental health charities in his memory.
Current figures done recently show under 40s, 94% in the rural community say mental health is their major issue, and these figures need to be addressed. And I just want shooters or anybody in the rural community to feel that they can talk to each other, share a problem, because my attitude is a problem shared is a problem halved.
In Wales, proposals to clamp down on shooting by licensing game bird releasing is putting extra pressure on country people.
It'd be a huge impact. You know, it's really what I and all of us look forward to all year. Is that, you know, that first morning shoot, the first bird. Everyone's so chuffed if they get the first bird of the season. It's brilliant. It's what excites us and what gets us through. It really does. Without it, it would be sad. It'd be very sad.
A big part of your mental health, I think. I represented England when I was a kid fishing. I had tens of miles of rivers when I was growing up where I could just pop down and fish. When I went to school out in Africa, fishing was, I think schoolwork kind of went to one side and it was just fishing. It's a big part, even shooting, just going out rough shooting, whether you shoot something or not, it's also just being out in the countryside.
A new report by the cross-party Environment, Food and Rural Affairs Committee says rural mental health across England is an area of considerable concern.
And that affects everybody. It affects the keepers themselves, it affects the communities, it affects within the family. So check-in with a mate is all about looking after yourselves, because we know when you talk to people, it can help. Others are in the same boat, others might listen. And sharing a problem, as we know, helps to just release the pressure a bit and know that there are others who care, there are others who are in the same situation.
We've had a lot of problems with mental health. It's not perhaps so bad for us older ones, but for the young lads, you know, it is hard. And, you know, so everybody's just got to do their bit, speak to their mates, you know, call round, have a cup of tea, have a cup of coffee. I know we're busy, it's a busy time of year, but, you know, we've all got 5 minutes, just do it.
For my son's sake, I'd like everybody in the rural community to stay safe and look after themselves, but look after each other.
See below for links on where to get help.